They say no one stays in room 237. Not for long. Guests check in but leave in the dead of night trembling, pale. Some refuse to speak about what they saw. Others vanish without a trace. The hotel keeps the room locked now, no keycards issued, no tour allowed. But the rumors won't die. Whispers speak of a presence, a demon that never left. The Black Hollow Hotel opened in 1923. A grand palace of marble and mahogany, built to dazzle the elite. Presidents slept here, movie stars danced under its chandeliers. But beneath the glitter, something else stirred. Room 237 was part of the original blueprint, nothing special at first. Until the night of March 4th, 1924. The night a maid walked in and came out screaming. Her name was Clara Jennings. She entered room 237 to climb, but stumbled out seconds later, covered in scratches, deep, fresh bleeding. She couldn't speak, just trembled. They thought it was a nervous breakdown, until she tried to claw her own eyes out in the lobby. The staff kept it quiet, but Clara never worked again, and the room was sealed for the first time. 2 years passed. Management changed. The new owners didn't believe in ghost stories. Room 237 was reopened in 1926. Its first guest, a traveling salesman named Thomas Griggs. He checked in on a Thursday. The maid found him Friday morning, hanging from the ceiling fan. The note he left behind, just 3 words scratched into the wall with his fingernails. It watches me. Over the decades, the pattern repeated. Every few years, someone brave or foolish would demand room 237. They'd last a night, maybe 2. Some claimed the walls breathed. Others saw faces in the mirror that weren't their own. One guest said he heard children crying. But room 237 was always booked for 1. Eventually, management stopped renting it. But the demon, it never stopped welcoming new visitors. The staff knew to avoid the vents. Late at night, whispers drifted through the ducts. Voices that didn't belong to any guest. One janitor, Miguel, swore he heard his mother's voice. But she'd died years before. He quit that same night, after something banged from inside the walls. 3 times, slow, heavy, like a fist made of stone. No matter how often it was replaced. The carpet in room 237 always turned red. It started as a faint smear near the bed. By morning it looked soaked. They changed it 17 times. Different fabrics, different dyes. Still the same result. Some said it wasn't just blood, but a message, a warning. Yet still someone always tried to stay. In 1961, a bellhop fled the hotel mid-shift. He'd gone to deliver towels to 237, only to find a man standing inside. Naked, eyes missing, blood leaking down both cheeks. He didn't speak, didn't move, just stared with hollow sockets until the boy screamed. When security arrived, the room was empty. The man, never seen again. But the bellhop never forgot that stare. In 1987, a paranormal researcher named Ellie Marston requested room 237. She wanted proof cameras, audio, EMF. She lasted 2 nights. On the 3rd morning, they found her on the floor, mumbling numbers over and over. 237. Licks, licks, licks. Her tapes erased. Her notes burned to ash. Ellie never spoke again. Just rocked in silence, staring at something no one else could see. For 30 years, the door stayed locked. Until 2017, when a social media dare went viral. 3 teens snuck in through the laundry chute. Only one made it out. He was barefoot, covered in scratches. eyes wide open, never blinking. He never spoke again, just wrote the same thing over and over. Don't open it. Don't let it out. The hotel denies everything. No official records of room 237 incidents exist. No public complaints. No lawsuits. But former staff tell a different story. Anonymous interviews describe locked cabinets, hidden logs, and one manager who insisted they pray before every shift. He died in his sleep, heart stopped, but his hands were still clasped in prayer. Ask anyone in town, they know. Kids dare each other to knock on the door. Teenagers film TikToks outside, hoping to catch a ghost. But older locals, they cross the street when walking past the hotel. One bartender claims his grandfather helped build room 237. He said they found bones under the foundation. Children's bones. And something else buried deeper. Something not human. Blueprints from 1922 show something strange. Room 237 wasn't meant to exist. It was added last minute by a man named William Greaves, the head architect. He disappeared before construction finished. But workers found a page in his office, a scribbled diagram with strange runes, and a single phrase written in blood. To open the door is to fade it. A YouTuber once live-streamed outside room 237. He joked, taunted, knocked 3 times. His camera caught something. A figure behind the peephole, blinking red eyes. The stream cut out. The video deleted from his channel hours later. He says he didn't do it. Says he left YouTube that night. He still sleeps with the lights on. It's quiet now. The hotel runs like normal. Tourists laugh in the bar. Couples check in oblivious. But sometimes late at night, staff still hear it. A knock, then another, then a third. Always from room 237. Even when no one is inside. Even when the door is sealed shut. From the outside. In 1995, a Catholic priest was called to bless room 237. He entered with holy water and left 20 minutes later, ashen and trembling. He dropped the crucifix on the hallway floor. Refused to touch it again. When asked what happened, he whispered one word. Mockery. He renounced his vows a week later. No one ever saw him return to the cloth. Julian Crane had explored haunted castles, abandoned prisons, cursed hospitals. But room 237 broke him. He entered with 6 cameras, a journal, and a team. He came out alone, eyes bloodshot, hair turned white. He destroyed every tape. Burned his journal. And disappeared. Some say he joined a monastery in the Alps. Others say he's still there. Inside 237. Trapped, begging silently behind the walls. Room 237 has no vents now. They were welded shut in 2002. Too many reports of voices. Calling staff by name. One maid heard her dead brother sobbing inside. Another heard a child giggle, then scream. Sometimes the grates rattled. Even with no air running. One plumber said something hissed at him. But when he looked inside, the metal was ice cold. In 2009, a woman named Laura checked into room 237 by mistake. She dreamed of burning alive. Over and over. Woke up screaming, drenched in sweat. Said her skin peeled in the dream, layer by layer. Doctors said it was night terrors. But her bedsheets were scorched, melted at the edges, and her fingerprints were gone. Security footage from July 3, 2013, shows room 237's door opening by itself. No one inside, no one outside, just the lock clicking, the handle turning, and the door slowly creaking open. It stayed that way for 13 hours, until a guest vanished from the room next door. No signs of forced entry, only a single red handprint on the wall. In 2015, renovations unearthed a hidden space behind room 237's closet. Inside, an old journal bound in leather. Pages filled with symbols, not in any known language. One page had a rough sketch of the room's layout, but upside down. Below it, scribbled in faded ink, "It's not the room that's cursed. It's the thing it holds in." A tourist once took a selfie in front of room 237. Later that night, she zoomed in. Her face was fine, but in the mirrored brass number plate, another face stared back, eyes glowing red, mouth open in a silent scream. She posted the image online. Within hours, her account vanished. She stopped answering texts. A week later, her apartment was found empty, the door still locked from inside. Maintenance once moved the bed in room 237 for pest control. Underneath, they found a perfect burn mark. A human silhouette, arms outstretched, legs together, as if someone had burned into the floor. But the carpet was untouched, the floor beneath scorched black, and no one knew when it appeared, or why it smelled like sulfur and roses. A guest once reported hearing humming from the next room, soft and melodic. When she recorded it and played it back, the audio was reversed. Played forward, it became a song, a lullaby, in a dead language. Experts analyzed it. They could only translate 3 words. Feed the dark. She left that night, never returned. He checked into room 237 for fun. There, nothing happened until he went home. Doors slammed, shadows moved, mirrors cracked without warning. He set up cameras. At 3:17 a.m. they caught something. A figure in the hallway, the same one from the hotel mirror. The next morning, he found one word scratched into his bathroom tile. Mine. The front desk receives calls from room 237. Even when it's unoccupied, the voice is faint, always whispers. Sometimes it repeats names. Sometimes it just laughs. Once it said he's not done eating. The staff tried tracing it, but the line was dead. Literally, disconnected 10 years prior. But the calls keep coming. In 2021, a blogger live posted her stay in room 237. Hour by hour, she tweeted jokes, sounds, chills. Then silence. No more posts. Her last tweet, a photo of the doorknob melting. Police found her phone on the bed. The room was locked. No sign of her. Only ash on the carpet. And that same word carved into the headboard. Welcome. The bellboy swears he didn't imagine it. He walked past 237 one night and saw a flickering shadow under the door. It crawled, not walked. Hands too many to count. Eyes blinking in rows. When he got closer, it stopped and whispered, "I know you." He quit the next morning and moved states, but he says it still speaks to him. A guest found writing on the bathroom mirror, appearing only when the glass fogged. Each night a new message. First, do you say me? Next, you let me out. Then I'm behind you. On the 3rd night she left, but the mirror at her home started doing the same thing. The hotel has backup generators, but room 237 always goes dark first. Lights flicker, bulbs shatter, even candles won't stay lit. One night during a blackout, security watched the monitors, Every room glowed dim red except 237. It was pitch black, until two glowing eyes appeared, staring back through the screen, right at the camera. Architects reviewing the hotel's blueprints made a disturbing discovery. Room 237's size kept changing. On paper, it's 200 square feet, but laser scans showed over 300. No walls had been moved. No renovations done. Just more space than should exist. A closet that leads nowhere. A window that sees nothing. And a bathroom mirror. That shows a different angle than the room. A businessman asked for a 6 a.m. wake-up call. He got it, but instead of a ring, his phone screamed, loud and human, shattering the receiver. Security found him curled in a corner, ears bleeding, teeth cracked. He whispered she won't stop screaming. But room 237 was empty. Phone unplugged, and the line was cut. Every winter, room 237 leaks. But not water. Dark, thick, warm. It seeps from a crack in the west wall. Lab tests came back, not paint, not oil, but blood, human, yet no one's ever injured. No pipes above. No explanation. Just the scent of iron and rot. And the quiet sobbing that follows. A housekeeper heard giggles inside room 237. When she opened the door, it was empty. Until the curtain moved. She peeked behind and saw a child, eyes all black, skin gray and wrinkled. It grinned and whispered she's hungry, then vanished. The curtain stopped moving, but the giggling, it followed her home. A guest was brushing his teeth in room 237, staring into the mirror. But something was wrong. His reflection blinked before he did. It smiled when he didn't, then stepped backward into darkness. He turned around. Nothing there, but the mirror stayed dark, and the smile remained. TVs in room 237 never work right. No matter the model, no matter the brand. Turn them on static, but sometimes the static whispers. Names, numbers, cries for help. Once the screen showed a face, upside down, mouth stitched shut. Then burst into flames. The guest was unharmed, but the power flickered across the whole floor. Every clock placed in room 237 malfunctions. Hands spin counterclockwise. Time freezes. One guest stared at his watch for hours. The second hand never moved. But outside, 5 hours had passed. He swore only minutes went by. And during that time, he couldn't move, as if the room held him still. A guest looked up before falling asleep and saw symbols on the ceiling, drawn in charcoal or ash. Circles, triangles, and something with horns. He blinked. They were gone. Next morning, the ceiling was clean, but his hands were black, and his pillow marked with the same sigils. A couple brought their service dog to the hotel. He was calm, well-trained, until they neared room 237. He froze, growled, then whimpered, tail tucked. He refused to walk past, tried to flee. The couple laughed, until he bit the husband's hand and broke free. They found him 3 blocks away, shaking under a church pew. A janitor locked room 237 for cleaning. He left the key in his cart. 5 minutes later, the door clicked, opened from the inside. No one was assigned to it. No one should have been there. He peeked in and saw himself, standing, smiling, waving him in. A newlywed couple was upgraded to room 237 by mistake. The next morning she was gone, No signs of struggle. Just her dress neatly folded on the bed. The groom claimed she was never real. That he married a dream. Later, security footage showed her enter the room. But no one ever saw her leave. A writer stayed in room 237, chasing inspiration. His notebook filled fast. Pages and pages. Dark, violent, surreal. But the ink never dried. Each word a wet, sticky, red. By morning, the notebook dripped onto the floor. Tests showed the writing wasn't ink at all. It was blood, human, from multiple donors. None of them alive. Guests report whispers from the closet. Not voices, but names. Their names, spoken softly, lovingly, as if someone or something knew them. One man opened the door in rage. It was empty, except for a coat hanger, twisting on its own. Room 237 is always cold. Except when it's not. Some guests wake up sweating, room blazing hot. But the thermostat stays low, and the air smells like fire. Or sulfur, or both. One woman claimed she felt someone breathing on her neck. When she turned, her pillow burst into flames. A tourist checked her phone gallery. Found a photo she didn't take. Room 237. Taken from inside the closet. Her sleeping in bed. Timestamp 3:33 a.m. She was alone that night. No one else had her phone. And the closet was locked. Twice a year, guests report the same thing. An old woman, naked, shriveled skin, sitting silently in the tub of room 237. Eyes open, watching. By the time staff arrive, she's gone. But the water is warm, and something foul floats on the surface. Hair, nails, and once a single gray tooth. There's no music box in room 237. Yet some guests hear one. A soft, tinkling lullaby, growing louder after midnight. One guest followed the sound to the nightstand. Opened the drawer. Nothing inside, except the scratch marks, and a note written in childish script. Don't stop the song. Shadows in room 237 don't match their sources. They strut, line, sometimes move when you don't. One guest filmed herself reading, and watched the footage later. Her shadow tilted toward her, inching closer. By the end, it hovered over her shoulder, with fingers outstretched. The wall beside the bed hums, like it's breathing. Some guests feel it pulse slow and deep. Doctors confirmed no electrical issues. No plumbing nearby. But one guest placed a stethoscope against it. What she heard was a heartbeat, faint, monstrous. Then it skipped once, and she passed out cold. A handyman went into room 237 to fix the AC. Left the door open. He never came back. Security arrived minutes later. The door was locked from the inside. No sound, no tools, just the smell of burnt hair. They broke it down. No one inside. Only a single word etched into the wall. Full. One guest turned the thermostat down. Way down. The air turned icy. Then painful. She reached for the controls and found her fingers frozen to the dial. Screaming, she tore free. Skin left behind. Doctors said it was frostbite. But no hotel AC can get that cold. And the room temp registered normal. The wallpaper in room 237 peels. Always in the same spot. Underneath, a face, faint, outlined by moisture and rot. Each year it grows clearer. Now it has teeth, a mouth, and something that might be horns. Painters try to cover it, but the shape always returns. The knocking is always the same. 3 taps, pausing, then 2 slow knocks. No one has ever seen who does it, but audio equipment catches it clearly. Late nights, always at 3:37 a.m. One researcher mapped the rhythm and found it matched a funeral chant from an extinct language used to summon the dead. A tech installed a new flat screen in room 237. Later, he noticed something strange. It recorded, even when turned off. Storage was full of footage from inside the room, when no one was there. Sometimes the screen showed people who never checked in, standing, watching, breathing on the glass. There's no floor 2.37, but sometimes the elevator stops there. Doors open, nothing but darkness. Security says it's a glitch, but cameras show passengers vanishing. Just gone. One man stepped out onto that floor. He's never been found. Only his shoes remained. Still tied, still warm. Room 237's window faces the hotel courtyard. But sometimes guests look out and see something else. A forest, a graveyard, once a burning church. Photos taken show nothing unusual. But some guests report being watched by something in the trees. Blinking, waiting. A guest signed the room's digital welcome pad. Typed her name. Simple, but the next morning her name had changed. It read belonging. She cleared it. Typed again. The screen blinked. Then wrote taken. She ran. Staff checked the file. There was no record of her stay. Hotel staff received strange calls from room 237. But this time it said a name. The name of a maid. She answered. The voice begged. Help me, I'm inside the mirror. She went to check. Never came back. Her cart was found outside the room. Still stuck. Still rolling. Security footage from room 237 glitches every night. Same time. 2:37 a.m. The timestamp freezes. Repeats the same 15 seconds. Over and over. A figure appears. Always different, but always watching the camera. When the time resumes, the room is empty, but the image lingers. For hours, a man checked into room 237 using his passport. ID verified. Payment confirmed. The next morning, police arrived. His body had been found at the city morgue, dead for 2 days. Autopsy complete, but surveillance shows him alive entering the hotel. Smiling, carrying luggage. Room 237. Still locked from inside. A family once stayed in the room next to 237. Their young son drew pictures during breakfast. He showed them proudly. One picture showed the hotel hallway and a door dripping blood. Next to it, a figure with no face. When asked who it was, he whispered, "That's her room." They hadn't told him the number, but 237 was scribbled across the page. The bed in room 237 groans. Even when empty, it rises and falls. Slowly, like something is inside breathing. One guest placed a glass of water on the nightstand. Watched it ripple, in perfect rhythm with the mattress. He left in the middle of the night. Said the bed exhaled. During a power outage, a guest used a radio. Only static, until he heard his name. Spoken softly, repeated, then a scream. He dropped the device, but it kept broadcasting. Come closer. When power returned, the radio was fused. melted, and his name was burned into the table beneath it. She checked in young, vibrant, 35 at most. Staff remember her. Friendly, curious. She left the next morning, bent gray-haired, shaking. She showed her ID. It still had her youthful photo. But her face was wrinkled and sunken. Doctors said it was impossible. But her passport never expired. Only she did. In 2022, a couple stayed in room 237. She was 6 months pregnant. By morning, the ultrasound photo in her purse was blank, no fetus. Doctors scanned her again. Nothing there. But she still felt it kick. Still heard the heartbeat. Only no one else did. She woke days later, with tiny handprints across her belly. Room 237 triggered the alarm at 4:04 a.m. Fire crew arrived fast. No flames, no heat, just soot, covering the ceiling, the walls, spelling out a word. Repent. But there was no fire, no source, just one matchstick, balanced upright on the bed. The mirror in room 237 is nailed down. But guests swear it moves. Angles change. Reflections lag. Sometimes it shows the back of their heads. One man covered it with a towel. The next morning, the towel was gone, and the mirror cracked from the inside. One night, a guest complained of tapping below the floorboards. Maintenance checked. Nothing below but concrete. No pipes, no wiring. But the sound kept coming. Rhythmic, intentional, like fingers, drumming from below. At 3 a.m., the tapping stopped, and the floor felt warm. She journaled every night. Just thoughts. Until room 237. Her entries turned to symbols. Sprawling, chaotic. No known language. Linguists called it pre-human. She said the words weren't hers. She just copied them. When they showed her the notebook, she screamed. Didn't recognize a single page. Then asked, "Who wrote this in my voice?" She found an old photo in her suitcase. Sepia tone. A woman in room 237. Smiling, wearing her face. Same eyes, same necklace. But she'd never taken the photo. No one she knew had. On the back, scribbled in ink. Return. You always do. Some nights the door has no number. Just blank wood. No brass plate. Guests walk right past. Then feel compelled to turn back. When they do, 237 is there again. Polished, waiting. But one photo showed something else. A different number, burned into the wood grain. 0. There's no service bell in room 237. Yet every few weeks, staff hear it ring. A sharp, polite chime. Always 3 times. They go up. No one's inside. No bell. But the pillow bears an imprint. As if someone had been lying there. Smiling, a guest caught a glimpse of someone outside her door. An old man in black. Head bowed, staring at room 237. When she opened the door, he vanished. Later, she showed hotel staff the sketch she made. An employee went pale. Said that man was the hotel's first owner. Buried in 1941. And always feared that room. Every time someone runs water in room 237. The sound of static rises. Louder than the shower. Some say it whispers. One man recorded it. Played it back slowed down. It was a voice. Repeating a sentence. She's waking, then screaming, so loud his speaker cracked. The next day his ears bled. A cleaning lady found an old diary under the bed. Its pages chronicled every guest in room 237. By name, by date, including ones yet to arrive. She flipped to the last entry. It had her name, today's date, and one final word, scrawled in thick black ink. Stay. A retired architect returned to visit the hotel. He carried original floor plans never made public. He pointed at room 237, then laughed nervously. It wasn't supposed to exist, he said. There was no door in the first draft. Only a wall, and beneath that wall, an old well, sealed shut with iron. And prayers. An anonymous whistleblower leaked an internal document. A list of names. All guests who stayed in room 237. And left alive. Only 9. All institutionalized. All drew the same symbol repeatedly. A spiral of teeth. None of them could explain what it meant. Except one. She called it the mouth that waits. A psychiatrist interviewed a survivor. She whispered the whole time, terrified, then began speaking, in 2 voices at once. One calm, the other hungry. The recording ends with static, and one phrase barely audible. You opened it. The tape melted during storage. No copies remain. Only the doctor's final note. It knew my name. The priest who once fled room 237 returned in 2023. Older, silent, he entered with only a cross and vial of oil. Inside for 10 minutes. Then screams. Security broke the door. No priest inside. Only the cross, bent and burned. The carpet melted around it. In a perfect circle. Midnight. Security camera shows room 237 unlocking itself. Handle turns. Door cracks open. Nothing exits. But in frame, the hallway grows darker. Lights flicker. A long shadow spills out across the floor. But no source. Just a cold gust of wind. And one whisper barely caught on audio. No. Former employees reveal what really kept room 237 sealed. It wasn't the lock. It was the ritual. Salt lines, chalk sigils, candles lit on certain nights. They never missed a date. Until corporate stopped the practice. Said it was superstition. That same week, 3 guests vanished, and the walls bled. One night, every room on the 2nd floor got a call. Same time, same voice. It said only one word. Here, guests complained. Staff panicked. Room 237's phone was still disconnected. But a recording exists. When slowed down, the voice is dozens layered together. Screaming from beneath something. Stone or flesh. A tech-savvy guest ran EMF and thermal scans. His laptop crashed. Hard drive corrupted. But one file remained auto-named 237 MP4. It showed his footage. Until the camera turned on him. Something behind him moved too fast. His reflection turned. But he didn't. Then the screen went black. And whispered, "You're part of it now." During an emergency drill, staff tried to evacuate a guest from 237. They entered the fire stairs. Down 3 floors. Opened the door. Right back into room 237. They tried again. And again. Each time same result. Until one man screamed, "It doesn't want us to leave." They never found his body. Just his voice, still calling from the stairwell. The spiral of teeth drawn by survivors appeared again, carved into a bathroom mirror. No tools found, no prints, but deeper than glass. It pulsed in the light. A guest traced it with her finger, whispered something in a tongue she didn't know, then vanished from the footage. Only her voice remained, saying, "She's here." Guests report hearing their names whispered. Days after leaving room 237. Not in dreams, in showers, at work, while driving. One man wore earbuds constantly. Still heard it. When he checked his voicemail, there were 237 missed calls. Each message, one word, open. Blueprints showed no basement beneath room 237. But sonar scans revealed a hollow chamber. Deep, perfectly circular. Access impossible. No stairs, no door, but guests report dreaming of descending stone steps, hearing chanting, smelling ash and bone. One woman drew the chamber in perfect detail, though she swore she never dreamed. Hotel logs show one name appearing every decade. Same name, same ID number, same room 237. Records go back 100 years. But the man in the photo never ages. Staff tried to track him, but his face appears in every guest mirror. Smiling, waiting, 3 knocks, too slow, then silent. On the final night before lockdown, the knocking changed. It tapped out a message. Morse code. A staff member decoded it. She rises tonight. Room 237's lights went out. The fire alarms triggered. And the camera feed burned white. Last week, a new guest asked for room 237. Reception smiled awkwardly. "There's no such room," they said. The guest pointed upstairs, to the hall, where a brass plate still glimmered. 237. The staff looked and froze. The hallway was empty. No door, but the camera feed still showed it open. In the foundation, sealed beneath room 237, there was once a symbol, etched into concrete, a protective sigil. Now it's broken. A fault line sliced through it during renovations. No one noticed, until the spiral began appearing again. On walls, on mirrors, on people's skin, like it had waited for the seal to fail. Thermal sensors showed room 237 heating up. Not from vents, but from the walls themselves. Pulsing, breathing, as if something inside were waking. The room grew brighter. Light without a source. One investigator saw her own shadow move and touch her. The next morning, her skin bore scorch marks in the shape of a hand. The elevator stopped again at floor 2.37. But this time, no one stepped out. No one stepped in. The doors stayed open. 5 minutes. 10. Guests waited nervously. One finally stepped forward, then screamed. There was no floor, just a vast black drop, and eyes blinking in the dark below. A woman called the front desk, panicked. She said she remembered a name, one she'd never heard before, but it felt ancient, older than language. She wrote it down, letters twisted and wrong. The paper burst into flames. Before she hung up, she whispered, "She's not a ghost. She's a gate." Room 237 made a sound. Not a creak, not a knock. A voice, low, layered, hundreds of voices, saying one sentence in unison. He opened it. Security played the recording back. The audio file corrupted, but their ears still rang. And one guard now speaks only in whispers. In reverse. He checked in alone. Polite, normal. Staff saw him enter room 237. But the man who left wasn't the same. Same clothes, different eyes, smiling too wide. He walked out calmly and said, "It's ready." No one saw him again, but guests now feel watched, even in the lobby. Surveillance caught it first. A red fog leaking from room 237's threshold. It crept low like smoke, but alarms stayed silent. It moved down the hallway, entered the vents. Guests reported migraines, nosebleeds, visions of fire. By sunrise, the fog was gone, but every mirror reflected something else. A hallway without end. They tried to keep it quiet. A maintenance emergency. But the truth, every staff member walked out. All at once, leaving luggage, guests, everything. They wouldn't speak, only handed over keys. And one final message. "She's awake. We won't be here when she walks." One last knock. Not three, not two, just one. It echoed through the entire building. Cameras went dark. Phones fried. The front desk printer spat out a single page. Blank except for 2 words. "I'm here." No one knows who printed it. No one stayed to check. As dawn rose, guests saw it. Room 237. Open, wide, the brass number plate gone. The air inside black, thick, pulsing. Like breath held too long. One man stepped forward, drawn to it. He smiled, whispered, "She called me," and walked in. The door slammed shut behind him. The hotel released a formal statement. Room under renovation. But satellite footage shows otherwise. No vehicles, no workers, and the windows, permanently blacked out. Some say the building's aura changed. Colder, heavier, like something underneath. Exhaled. Former guests, ones who survived, have begun returning. Without reason. They check in, silently, always request the same floor. They don't speak, don't blink, they just stare at the door. Room 237. One bellhop saw them smile. All at once, he quit the next morning. It's spreading. Other hotels report strange calls. Knocks, a woman humming. All around 2:37 a.m. A motel in Ohio. A resort in Prague. Even cruise ships. Different places. Same sound. Same whisper. She's found another door. Whatever was once bound is moving again. The spiral of teeth once drawn by survivors now appears on sidewalks, bathroom tiles, subway windows. People wake with it etched into their palms. It pulses when they close their eyes. They dream of fire, of voices chanting, of room 237. Everywhere. You may never visit that hotel. You may never walk past room 237. But it doesn't matter. Because now, it knows you. You've heard its story. And that's how it begins. Next time you check in, count the doors carefully. And if you see a room without a number, do not knock. Do not open it. Because it might open you. Different people, different countries, same dream. A hallway of red light. A door without a number. And a woman whispering. But her mouth doesn't move. They all wake at 2:37 a.m. Screaming, drawing the same spiral with shaking hands. Some say it's just coincidence. Others know better. She's planting herself. One dream at a time. Tourists find room 237 in their vacation photos. But they never visited the hotel. Never even heard of it. Still, it's there. A door, always cracked open, always in the background, even if no such room existed at the location. One traveler enlarged the image. Inside the crack, two eyes stared out, knowing. Parents across the world report strange noises through baby monitors. Static, then soft humming, then whispers. She belongs to me. Some infants cry without tears. Others smile, staring into corners. One monitor recorded a voice saying, "She's here now." The baby was missing by morning. The crib empty, except for a spiral, drawn in ash. A rare book collector received a package, no return address. Inside, a journal, bound in flesh, handwritten entries, dated decades into the future. Each one a death, each location a door. The last page was blank, until he touched it. Then his name appeared. Today's date, and a red handprint that bled through the leather. Across the world, mirrors stopped working. Not all at once, just enough. They darken, reflecting nothing. But if you look long enough, a door appears behind you. Wood, brass handle, no number, and sometimes a knock, 3 quick taps, then silence. Radio DJs began receiving emergency alerts. But no source, just static. Then one sentence. She walks through you. Listeners reported nosebleeds. Soldiers, dreams of red light under their skin. One engineer played the message backwards and heard screaming. His ears ruptured. He wrote one final note before collapsing. Turn off your mirrors. A neurosurgeon collapsed mid-surgery. Security footage showed him freeze. Then whisper, "She's cutting now." He stood up, walked out of the hospital, never returned. But every patient he touched later drew spirals on the walls of their rooms, all of them muttering the same phrase. She's learning the body. A guest received a call from his own number. He answered, his voice, but different, older, broken, begging, "Don't check in. She's in me now." The line went dead. He laughed it off, then got the key to room 237. That night no one saw him leave. Only his phone, ringing. On a luxury cruise, guests complained of a locked door. Not on any map. Cabin 237. No handle, but it pulsed with heat. Crew sealed it. But a night later, the room was open. Empty, except for footprints leading into the ocean. And a message carved into the glass. She needs wider water. At an international airport, a gate appeared. No flight listed. No announcements. Just gate 237. People lined up anyway. No boarding passes. No staff. Just a red light blinking above the jet bridge. Security found it empty. But footage showed 31 people walk in and vanish. No plane. Only the hum of something huge. A group of patients, different wards, different cities. All painted the same thing. A hallway of bone. A door of fire. And a woman smiling, but made of teeth. They had never met, never spoken, yet all used the same red paint. Even when none was provided, the staff counted their own blood supplies. 2 pints missing. Digital calendars worldwide glitched. All at once, March 7th, replaced with arrival. Emails scheduled. Events erased. Only a single note remained. Midnight she steps through. Tech companies denied it, but screenshots flooded online. And one CEO whispered during a live stream, "She isn't entering. She's already here." In remote regions, pilots reported a light pattern in the clouds. Rotating, expanding, the spiral. Air traffic avoided it. But one plane disappeared mid-flight. The last recording, passengers singing, in a language no one recognized, and a child voice saying, "Room 237 has wings now." One night, millions of TVs turned on by themselves. Every channel, every screen, same image, a door, candles, and a woman whispering. No sound at first, then chanting. Old, powerful. When the feed cut, many viewers kept repeating it. Some carved the spiral into their homes. Others vanished. Police reports called it mass psychosis. But others say it was an invitation. Satellite scans show a new anomaly. A door-shaped shadow, spanning 37 square miles, visible only at night. It moves slowly across continents. No source, no reflection, just heat, a whisper under the earth. Geologists are baffled, but someone leaked the new global map. Room 237 isn't a room anymore. It's a country, and it's growing. Across continents, children wake up crying the same name. Not a real word, not in any known language, but always the same syllables. They draw the door, the spiral, and the woman with no face. Doctors call it shared delusion. But when asked where they saw her, they answer in unison. We were born there. Fishermen off distant coasts report red tides. But no algae, no bacteria, just warmth, and pulses deep beneath the sea. Sonar scans reveal impossible readings. Structures shaped like doors, opening, closing. One diver returned from the depths gasping. She built rooms down there. He never spoke again. Just draws, more doors. A historian uncovered ancient tablets, hidden beneath a collapsed monastery. The symbols matched survivor scribbles from room 237. Same spiral, same door, same phrase. She waits until we forget. He claims the room didn't appear. It returned, and each time it takes more. He begged the world to listen. The next morning he was found, inside a locked vault. In an abandoned building in Chile, urban explorers found a staircase. It went up floor after floor, but the building only had 3 stories. They climbed for hours. One turned back. The rest vanished. The survivor said the stairs changed, turned red. The walls whispered, and the air tasted like teeth. He never slept again. Full moon. A child looked out the window, smiled, said, "She's at the door." His parents laughed, until the boy's nose bled. Then his mouth. He wrote something on the window in red. She's not knocking anymore. Outside the moon pulsed, and the lights in the street flickered. And threes, for exactly 7 seconds. The world went silent. No wind, no power, no voices, just stillness. Then a deep breath, heard through seismographs. A sound with no source, but measured everywhere. Scientists say it came from beneath us. A pressure building, waiting for the final key. Hospitals report strange MRI scans. Patterns etched inside organs. A spiral formed by veins. Unnatural. Impossible. One patient's chest bore the mark, but only when his heart stopped. He flatlined at 2:37 a.m. Then woke up, smiling, and said, "She made a room inside me." A photographer captured a strange flash over a mountain range. Bright, but when developed, the light turned black, dense, like a hole punched into the frame. Behind it, a door. Not in the shot, not in reality, but there, when zoomed in, a woman stared back, smiling, waiting. Shelters worldwide report strange behavior. Dogs won't enter certain rooms. Cats hiss at blank walls. Birds stop singing at 2:37. One zookeeper watched every animal turn, all facing the same direction, toward nothing. And the next day, the floor beneath their enclosures was marked with spirals. The original key to room 237, lost for decades, was found in a child's backpack. She'd never seen it, didn't know the hotel. But when held, she whispered, "She gave it to me in my dream." No one taught her that phrase. But the back of the key had 3 words: "Let her through." A baby was found in an alley, alive, but no birth records, no umbilical cord. DNA tests inconclusive. Doctors couldn't explain her, except she was warm, too warm, and smiled without blinking. She drew spirals with crayons and whispered, "She'll walk again soon," before speaking a language no one had heard. But everyone feared. Cybersecurity firms report strange patterns. Viruses with no source. Self-replicating spirals. In binary. Appearing in banking systems. Flight paths. Medical records. When decoded, they form the image of a door, then disappear. One engineer traced it back to a server that doesn't exist. He vanished the next day, but left a message. "She's uploaded." Global clocks glitched. For 1 second, every device displayed 2:37. Even those set to different time zones. Even analog watches. No one moved. Surveillance footage showed mass stillness. And in one camera, a woman walked freely, room to room, smiling. By the time the clocks resumed, the hallway was empty, but the doorknobs were warm. A user on every major platform posted the same video. A dark hallway, a door marked 237, and a whisper, "This is not a story. It's a memory." No username, no profile. The accounts deleted themselves. But the video, uploaded millions of times, by strangers who swear they've never seen it, but remember filming it. They sealed it, bricked it, built over it. But the room still breathes. Walls expand, floor trembles, air pulses, and beneath it all, a heartbeat, not human, not one, but many, in rhythm, a countdown to what? They don't know, but something is opening. Underground workers report tunnels where none exist. Rooms lined with red stone, air too thick to breathe, and doors identical to room 237. Some maps now glitch, showing new levels below subways, always labeled restricted. One drone sent in lost signal after 6 minutes. The final frame, a spiral carved into the earth. People wake up marked. Arms, necks, spines, spirals inked in deep black, never done by hand. No scarring, no pain, and no removal works. Some vanish days later. The rest begin drawing floor plans they've never seen. All identical, all labeled 237. Even children, even those who can't write. Astronomers report fractures, thin lines across night skies, invisible to most, but telescopes catch them. Like shattered glass, something presses through. From the other side, lights blink in the shape of a door. One scientist whispered, "She's not behind it. She isn't." Then stepped outside and vanished. An entire lake turned to steam overnight. Boiled dry. Fishermen said the water pulsed like a drum. One survivor described whispers in the mist. Inviting, hungry, in the center of the dried basin. A single door stood upright. Metal, unmarked, and behind it, hidden, like breath, across phones, watches, clocks, a timer appears. Counting down. No app, no update, just numbers, and one word below. Welcome. When it hits 2:37, devices freeze and flash a single frame. A woman, smiling, standing in a doorway made of bone. Some try smashing the screens, but the timer returns, always ticking. In cities across the world, people begin humming. Same tune, same pace, even when asleep. Doctors find no cause, no cure. They hum until they collapse. And when revived, they chant the same phrase. She is the room. She is the world. And every voice sings in harmony, as if they've known the melody forever. A fine red dust begins falling in isolated zones. Not pollen, not sand. It sticks to windows. Forms words. At first just names. Then full sentences. Then maps, always leading to one place. Room 237. Even in countries where it doesn't exist. Even underground. One sample examined under microscope. Revealed teeth fragments. Human. It slips under doors. Through vents. Around window panes. A red fog. Low to the ground. Breathing. Inside homes. Apartments. Hospitals. It collects around beds. Mirrors. TV screens. And when it clears, the room changes. Furniture slightly shifted. New doorways. In walls where no walls were before. They stop remembering names. Addresses. The sky. Then they forget their own face. Until they see it again. In mirrors. In strangers. All smiling. Some begin speaking in phrases from room 237 recordings. They no longer call themselves people. They say, "We are her guests." And worse, they knock. One city woke to find it drawn across the sky. The spiral, mile wide, black, it spun silently. Below it, electronics died. Voices screamed from unplugged speakers. Mirrors shattered in sync. And those with the mark burned hot. Glowing, they walked into traffic, into flames, into water, always smiling, always saying one thing. She opened the world. NASA released a photo by mistake. A structure on the lunar surface. A room, identical dimensions to 237. Shadowed, waiting. They delighted the image. But too late. Engineers enhanced it. Inside, a shape moved. Not human, not alien, just watching. And the reflection in its window was Earth. Skyscrapers grow a new level. No permits, no construction. It just appears. Access denied. Locked, but cameras show doors opening. Only at 2:37. And a figure walking the halls. Staff quit. Guests disappear. The elevators now skip that floor. But it's still there. Always waiting. The timer hits 0. Silent. Every light turns red. Screens go black. Then one word. Everywhere. Enter. People rise from beds. Leave homes. Walk to unknown places. Through walls. Through mirrors. No one stops them. Because they're smiling. Because it's too late. Because the world is now. Her room. Doors vanish. Not close. Gone. Walls stretch. Floors twist. Buildings reshape. Cities echo with knocking. And wherever you are, one door remains. Red, numberless, breathing. You may think you locked it. You didn't. Because you looked. Because you listened. And now it knows where you live. You turn on the light. Room looks normal. Safe. But something's shifted. Air too still. Clock frozen at 2:37. And behind you, a knock. You live alone. But your mirror fogs. And the spiral appears. This isn't her coming to you. This is her waking inside you. Because room 237 isn't in a hotel anymore. It's here, and it's open. Digital maps begin glitching. Cities shift. Streets repeat. Some users zoom in, only to see the spiral, spanning continents. One satellite view shows the entire world, shaped like a door. No roads laid out. No oceans stretch beyond. Just one label across the planet. Room 237. And it updates in real time. Growing. Astronomers notice the moon blinked. Just once. A slit across its surface. Then gone. But those who saw it directly went silent. Eyes dilated. Smiles frozen. They repeat a single line. She sees me now. And every full moon since shifts slightly, aligning perfectly above where room 237 first opened. Hospitals run strange tests. Blood samples behave oddly. Clot in spiral patterns. Cells align in rings. DNA folds into symbols. Doctors panic. One whispers, "She's rewriting us." Then collapses. His heartbeat forms the same rhythm heard in room 237 audio. Pulsing, fading, not human anymore. Linguists report a sudden surge. A spoken phrase heard in unrelated countries. No known root. But it spreads. People dream in it. Write in it. Sing it. It doesn't mean anything. Until it does. Because once you say it aloud, you understand. And once you understand, you belong to her. No more knocking. No more whispers. Now her voice is in the walls. Behind drywall. Under tile. Calling names. Yours. Not aloud. But inside. She doesn't ask you to open. She asks, "Why haven't you let me out yet?" And if you answer, she's already halfway through. Telescope arrays show stars moving. Just slightly, realigning into a shape. The spiral, it spins slower than time. But constant. Astronomers stop reporting. They burn their notes. Or vanish. Those who remain stare into the night sky. Smiling, one message posted from an observatory simply reads, "She's older than the dark." One last name appears in the log. Today's date, your birth year, same initials, same city, and beside it, room 237 reserved. You never booked it, never asked, but the page is printed. The key is ready, and the elevator is already on its way up. Corridors stretch, floors tilt. You walk but arrive where you started. Walls breathe, lights flicker red. No staff, no guests, just doors, endless, all marked 237. Some are open, some are waiting, and one of them knows your name. You blink and see it, the spiral, burned into your vision. Not drawn, grown, doctors find nothing. But you stop sleeping. Because dreams take you back. To her, to the room, to the moment you open the door. And when you wake, your pupils spiral too. Tight, infinite. You stand in front of the mirror. Behind you, just your room. But the glass shows a hallway, red carpet, dim light, and the door. Room 237. It opens slowly, and something steps through. Not into the room, into your reflection. You blink, and now you're on the other side, watching yourself. Smile. Time freezes at 2:37. Everywhere. Phones stop. Shadows stretch. Birds hang midair. Only you can move. And her voice is louder now. She says, I bought you this moment. A gift. A decision. Open the door. Or close your eyes. But choose fast. Because time is catching up. You feel them. Behind you. Watching. Hundreds. All with marked skin. Eyes glazed. Smiles stitched in silence. The past guests. Those who stayed. Those who opened. They don't speak. Just wait. And when you look away, they're closer. Not walking. Just arriving. One by one. From every mirror. From every knock. It's on your wall now. Painted in shadow. It spins slowly. Inward. Then outward. You touch it. And the wall feels warm. Soft. Like breath. Or skin. You hear the hum. The same you've always heard. In dreams. In rooms. In silence. And you know, there's only one scene left. She was never trapped. She was never waiting. She was always growing. And you were always walking toward her. Every hallway, every door, every story you heard. She fed on it, on belief, on fear, and now you know the truth. Room 237 is not haunted. It's hungry. You hear it. One knock, sharp, clear. You lock the door. Turn off the light. Cover the mirror. Hold your breath. But you already know. Because the knock wasn't at the door. It came from inside. Right behind your ear. So close, you felt it in your bones. Room 237 isn't coming. It's already here. She no longer whispers through walls. She speaks in your thoughts. Calm, gentle, familiar. She says your name the way no one else does. She shows you images. The hallway, the door, the red light. And you want to open it. Not from fear, but relief. Because it's the only thing that still feels real. Every dream ends in the same place. The hallway, the hum, the brass number on the door. You try to run, but your body walks forward. You try to scream, but your voice sings instead. And just before you open the door, you wake up, cold, but smiling, because now, you're ready. One last audio file surfaces. No sender, just a timestamp 2:37. You hit play. It's silence at first, then footsteps, then breathing, then your voice, asking, is anyone there? But you never recorded it, never said those words. And when the file ends, you hear it again, from the hallway, live, all symbols once drawn in black, now appear in red, on skin, on screens, on snow, a slow spin. It hums low, like it's alive, and when you blink, you see it turning behind your eyelids. You try to look away, but it keeps growing, because the spiral is not a symbol. It's a mouth. Room 237 no longer fits inside walls. It expands, across cities, across skies. It consumes architecture, language, memory. Everything bends toward it. like gravity. And when people vanish, they don't go missing. They go in, through doors, through thoughts, and they don't come back. Because once inside, there's no outside. You forget your address, your childhood, your voice. But remember one thing clearly: the color of the carpet outside room 237. You've never been there, but you know the scent, the feel, the knocking rhythm. She's rewriting your past, so she can walk forward, using your memory as the map. You open the window. It's the same street as yesterday. Exactly. Same cloud, same man crossing, same bird on the pole. Again and again, you walk outside and return to the same room. Every door leads back to her, because time is now a hallway, and every second, another key. She doesn't bring strangers in. She brings you 1,000 versions, past choices, forgotten selves. They all walk the same hall. Some scream, some kneel, some knock, and every one of them is you, waiting for the moment you finally say, "Yes, let me see her." A door stands in the middle of the road. No hinges, no wall, just a frame, and a number 237. Cars avoid it. People cross the street. But children walk straight through, laughing, then crying, then gone. You want to stop them, but something tells you they're not being taken. They're being welcomed. She won't force you. She never has. You reach the hallway. The light flickers. The door breathes. And in your hand, a key, old, worn, familiar. You hear your name. Not out loud, but inside. And the question is clear. Do you open the door? Lord, does it open you? You turn the key. The lock clicks. Light spills out. Not white, not warm, but living. The light touches your skin. And memories you never had return. You weren't born. You were invited. You weren't living. You were waiting for this light, this room, this moment. She stands in the center. Red dress, eyes closed, mouth open, and no sound. But you hear everything. She steps toward you, doesn't speak, doesn't threaten. She smiles, and suddenly, you understand. She's not haunting. She's offering to make you part of the room. Forever. No more questions. No more fear. You take one step, then another. The floor doesn't creak. It exhales. The walls pulse with light. The door behind you seals. And you're not trapped. You're home. You feel her in your lungs, your blood, your voice, and you whisper back, "I see you," because now you are her. Outside, the sky turns red. The oceans spiral. The maps change. People forget the old names. Now it's all one place. One door. One room. Everyone is a guest. No one checks out. And above all, she watches, with a smile carved from shadow, and a voice made of memory. The world has a new address. 237. Somewhere, you hear it. Again, a knock, then another, then silence. But it doesn't fade. It echoes, in walls, in wires, in your bones. Because even though the door is open, she still knocks, not to be let in, but to remind you. She's always there. And now, you are too. Someone finds an old guest book. Room 237. The names are all the same. One name, yours, written over and over. In different hands, different inks, different centuries. The last page is still blank. Waiting. The pen lies beside it, warm. You feel a tug, not from the room, from yourself, as if you were always meant to sign. The spiral grows, but it's not made of symbols. It's made of names. Thousands, millions, spoken in unison, not screamed, sung. Your name is among them, even if you never said it, even if no one else remembers it. She does, because once you hear the song, you're already part of the chorus. Your mirror returns. You thought you shattered it. You thought you boarded it. But it's back, clear, cold. It shows not your reflection, but the hallway again. The door opens, and you see yourself, already inside, already smiling. And behind you, another you, a chain of selves, all waiting for the last one to step in. You start saying things you don't remember learning, phrases in a language you don't know, but they feel right. They feel old. She speaks through you now, not to possess, to continue, because she doesn't need a body, just a voice, just yours. You open your mouth, and the door creaks wider. The lights go out one last time. You wait for them to return. They don't, not for hours, not for days, and when they do, everything's changed. The walls move, the clocks spin, the world no longer breathes on its own. It breathes with her, and the light, it's coming from the wrong side of the door. The man who designed room 237 never existed. No birth certificate, no employment history, but blueprints in his name, signed in blood, initials that match yours. And on the back of the plans, a message: I am not the builder. I am the first guest, which means you may not be the first either, just the latest. It spins faster now, so fast it folds inward, then vanishes. Everything gets quiet. Still, the knocking stops. The mirrors calm. The red fades. And you think, maybe it's over. Maybe you closed it. Then you hear it. One deep breath. Inhale, slow, and realize she was never breathing in. She was holding it. Tourists go looking for the Black Hollow Hotel. But it's gone. No address. No land. Locals say it never existed. But on cold nights, some see a hallway, flickering light, a brass plate 237. And if you try to film it, your footage disappears. But not from memory, because memory is where she builds now. This voice you've been hearing, telling the tale, explaining the symbols, warning you. You think it's mine, but listen closer. The rhythm, the hum, it changed, didn't it? Because I'm not telling this story anymore. She is. She always was. Every time you listened, you opened the door wider. And now you know why it never ends. You stand in the final hallway. No doors, no lights, only echoes. You walk slowly. Walls melt into shadow. Ceiling disappears. And ahead, one last shape. A frame, tall, wide, waiting. You don't knock. You don't hesitate. You walk through. And as you pass, you whisper, "Let the next guest in." It looks like your world. But it is. It's quieter, softer, like a hotel between realities. Every room a memory. Every hallway a version. And room 237, still at the center, always open, always full, but never complete. Because someone, somewhere, is still listening, still deciding if they'll knock. You've turned off the screen. Close the app. Shut your eyes. But the whisper lingers. Behind the silence, under your breath, she's waiting. No scream, no warning, just patience. Because the room is never in a building. It's in stories, in memory, and now it's in you. This isn't a documentary. It's a ritual. Every word a key, every image a lock. And now that you've heard it all, you are part of it. You don't need to find the hotel. You don't need to book a room. Because room 237 finds you. The moment you ask one question, was it real? And the answer is simple. You opened it.